Hello and welcome to episode 1184 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, June 9th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm exhausted, but
I know you are.
I'm here. I'm ready. Like I am powered by the swings of Ellie De La Cruz. Like that is how I get up in the morning. Uh,
That's the only way to do it
yeah. Like I mean,
because he's already a god.
he's insane. Like it's just you and I were just like talking. Like we're probably not gonna end up with him in any leagues because
Mm-mm.
we don't have the kind of fab that are gonna like. I've got one league where I'm going, maybe. But even there, like I can't. One, I can't afford $300. I don't think, and
Me
so like,
neither.
and I think he's gonna go for $300 in every league. It's just
Yeah. No, I tend to agree there, and I'm not going to have it. And that's okay. I've chosen to be pretty active week in, week out. My big bid was Taj Bradley. I do need a hitter, but I have 250. I can't spend it all on him, and that wouldn't even do it. I don't even think
mhm.
so. That said, I am in a pretty unique league where nobody has more than 500. So Ellie might go a bit cheaper in our league relative to the rest of the universe, or somebody's just one of these couple people that have 400 something might just say, "I'll leave myself with $30 and I'll go for whatever." So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be crazy. Obviously, he's already making an impact that has people excited. That just raises the price. Don't let Ellie De La Cruz do anything this weekend, or else you just won't be able to see where these prices go. It'll
Mhm.
be crazy. Let's talk a couple injuries before we get into the two steps of the week. Let's start with a big one, potentially. Pete Alonso got hit in the wrist. It's going to put him on the IL for a couple weeks. And the headline on RotoWire today, or RotoWorld, says there's a quote unquote real concern about this situation with Alonso. Did you happen to see the hit by pitch?
Yeah, and like I mean, it was bad. Like, and I know there was some bad blood there, and
Yeah,
yeah, hope
division rival.
yeah, and one like he had made some sort of like gesture like after hitting like a game winning home run like the night before and stuff, and said something. And
Good for
so
him.
like yeah, and so of course like the Braves fans were all like cheering when he got hit, and it
That's
was pretty
so
ugly.
gross.
But you just never nobody want to see anybody get hurt. Like
You
yeah, it's
shouldn't.
yeah, like I understand like some of these guys are gonna like throw at people, which I think is stupid. Like
Hmm.
I don't know, just never throw at anybody. Like it's just
No,
not worth
that
it.
that is the lamest shit ever. And I've always
Yeah,
talked about how I think it's so lame that some of the old school legends are heralded for doing it.
yeah.
Like I think that's the lamest thing about them. Like I love guys like Bob Gibson, but when it comes to like, oh, if he got mad at you, he threw a ball at you, and that was so tough. I'm like, you guys think that's tough? That is the
Yeah,
most bitch made thing ever. So I think
especially
throwing at
now with
guys
like the
sucks.
universal DH and
Yeah.
the idea that
Oh
like
yeah.
oh
Now you don't even have to get in the box.
yeah, the idea like oh I gotta protect my guys, like it doesn't protect anybody. If
No,
anything, it makes everybody
more on
like
it.
a target. Like yeah, I
Yep.
mean it's just it's just so dumb.
No, you're 100% right. So obviously, there's not a whole lot that's actionable here with regards to the Pete Alonso situation. You're not cutting him, of course. He takes one of your limited IL spots, et cetera, et cetera. One of the premier power hitters in the game. But let's talk about quickly about replacing Pete Alonso, and let's look at some first basemen who might be available. How do you feel about Ryan Noda for Oakland hitting for
I
some
knew
power?
that's who you're gonna go to because he's got prodigious power, like, and
Yes.
so like theoretically it could. Like the problem is he just makes so little contact in the zone. Like it just I know he's been hot, and I think you can ride the hot streak as long as it stays, but it may disappear any minute. Just because he swings and misses so damn much,
He's like a
I'm
lefty Brent Rooker. And, Rooker
yeah,
kept it going for a while. I mean, actually, he's still got a nice line going. And so you just ride it until you can't if you go with Noda, knowing that, like, hey, this might only be a week. And you might have to kind of keep piecing it together to get your Pete Alonso replacement. But I think he's pretty interesting. I think you got to go the power route, right? Like,
yeah,
You're not trying to pick up somebody who is more of a pure hitter for this spot because of all the power that you lost. So what about somebody that I know you've loved in the years, Brandon Belt?
Uh, this is funny because I put him on the rundown for the FWFD pod because I sorted like the leaderboards from like the last 30 days and he was
Mm-hmm.
near the top of the list and stuff. And then and Dave was all like, "Why the hell do you have Brandon Belt on here? Like he hasn't been good." I was like, "He's
Yes,
been
he
good over the
has.
last 30 days." He goes, "Yeah, but he's been dog shit over the last week, and dog shit on the whole for the season." And I was like, "Well, screw it, I'll take him off, fine." And then he fucking goes out and hits a home run, and so I was like, I got to like tweet at Dave and stuff, but
Yeah, I think what you're learning is never listen to Dave
yeah, exactly. But
because Belt's dominating this year. He has a 136 WRC plus with 4 homers in 176 plate appearances.
yeah, and he's playing regularly, which is a bummer for Danny Jansen when he's back healthy, but he's playing pretty much close to every day, and he's
Yeah,
hitting in a good spot in one of the probably the most powerful lineup, if not one of the most powerful lineups in all of baseball. So I think that's a good guy. Another guy is the guy who's probably the actual replacement on the team, Mark Vientos. Like, because
yes,
there's going to be a lot of leagues where Noda and Belt are already rostered, especially if you
true.
play in like a 15-team mix. But Vientos is widely available. He's got a lot of power, and this is going to be an opportunity. I think he's going to need to play full time now with Alonso on the IL. So for those of you in deeper leagues, Vientos is probably a good bet to pick up the vast majority of Alonso's playing time.
I like that call out for sure. I think he's util only in a lot of formats, but should get first base here relatively soon. I do like Vientos, so I'm definitely in on that. And again, you're replacing such pure power here. You want to lean that way
Mhm.
with your replacement for Alonso. Jordan Alvarez possibly going to the IL with an oblique injury. We know how we feel about obliques. Um, no word yet on this one. This one's a little more in the dark. Obviously,
They
again,
they sounded last night, like in the post game interviews, they sounded like he had died. Like that's how like they were all like, well, we're just gonna have to make do without him. We don't know, what exactly we're
I
gonna do
hate
there, but
obliques, dude.
I mean, 4 to 6 weeks is what you can expect at least from an oblique injury, and they're one of the most re-injured injuries
Yeah.
out there. And so I would expect that he's gone for probably at least 6 weeks, if not more, which is hard because that's almost half the remaining season at this
Yeah,
point.
that's a good bit at this juncture now.
I mean, you're obviously holding on to him even in NFPC where you don't have IL, but
Yeah, you can't get rid of Alvarez.
that is a massive, massive blow. Uh, and I mean, I don't. I guess you're just looking for whatever power you can get, but it's
Well,
hard.
let's go shallow over here again and go back to Oakland and go to the guy I already talked about with Noda, Brent Rooker, because he is
Mhm.
out there in a lot of leagues. Still has 12 homers. I mean, we play in an OBP head-to-head league where he's available. He has a 363 OBP even. I'm actually kind of surprised he's
Mhm.
available in that league. What do you think of Rooker? He's actually kind of kept it going a bit. He was obviously white hot to start the year, but you look at the line, and it's still palatable. Would you pick up Rooker to replace your Alvarez?
Um, I mean, I guess you can, and he's hitting like 286 in the month of June, but
Yeah, it was an electric April, like absurd. Came all the way back down to earth in May. So he went 1245 OPS to 616 up to 824 so far in June, which is obviously only 5 games. But, it's power.
it's still just really bad skills, and
I agree.
so
That's why I never was in on him for the long term. I was telling people pick up the hot streak, but you will end up cutting this guy, and they all
yeah.
did in May, of course. But now I think you can maybe pick him back up. What about Joey Weimer?
I think I would rather have Weimer. Like I
He
know the
gives you the
skill
power with some
and
speed.
yeah, with the speed. I mean, the hard part, it kind of really is team dependent, like or what your team needs are, because with Weimer, he's batting ninth a lot of the time, and so like if you
Hmm.
need runs scored, you're not really gonna get them.
You know what's
Uh,
really tough with losing? Alvarez. Well, actually, it's not that high this year. He usually hits for a good batting average. I mean,
Hmm.
274 is still pretty good. With a lot of the replacements you're going to get, it's going to be lower than that.
In
I
this day and age, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he was hitting his normal like 280s plus, but 274 is still going to be kind of tough to replace. But if you just go the pure fantasy route, what about somebody like fantasy meaning like fantasy juice, like power and speed? What about somebody like Jose Siri, where you punt the average a bit? You got 11 homers, 6 steals. Would you like to replace your Alvarez with Siri at all?
I'm surprised he's as widely available as he is in shallower formats. Like
Yeah,
I know he is an average drain, but he's been pretty darn good. Again, the skills suck, but the one skill he's got that all these other guys that we've talked about don't have is Jose Siri plays amazing defense,
she's
and
locked.
that defense is going to keep him in the lineup. And while, yes, the 33% strikeout rate is bad, like, that's kind of just who he is. And the Rays have accepted that and said, you know what? Yeah, he comes with a 33% strikeout rate, but we'll just bury you at the bottom of the lineup, let you play great defense, and you can hit some dingers and steal some bases. And I
And
think
he's
that's
doing
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siri's pretty intriguing. And if you want more of a power speed replacement there for your Alvarez, I think that he's somebody to take a look at for sure. And then one other guy who's also going power speed route on a better team, plays a bunch of spots. Would you have interest in shallow leagues in Chris Taylor with the Dodgers? He's got
Um,
just real quick. He's got 10 homers, 6 steals. So right there with Siri.
I mean, again, it's kind of like, can you soak up the batting average
Yeah,
drain that
right,
he's going to be?
right down to the same thing there. He's hitting 210.
Like, yeah, he's got a 35% strikeout rate. You look at like the underlying skills are atrocious. He's got 70 or 73.7% zone contact. 85% is like league average.
That's so
Uh,
brutal.
like it's like the skills are really, really bad, but he is hitting for power. He's playing fairly regularly, and the nice thing about Chris Taylor uh, is he plays all over the place, and so he's got multi-positional eligibility, which is just really nice, especially if you're dealing with these injuries, and especially if you're in a place like NFBC where like you don't have the IL spots to reserve guys and get to backfill those bench spots. So yeah, Taylor's a guy like
Exactly.
I've been using in a couple like leagues where it's like, his average kills me, but like everything else is like good enough where at least I have a guy I can move around my roster.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go Siri ahead of Taylor, unless you
Yeah, me
need that
too.
positional flexibility. But he's delivering fantasy heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree.
So like, your video's like frozen for me, and I can only hear you coming in choppily.
Oh, that's
Are
weird.
you getting me crystal clear?
Yeah, you're totally fine.
Oh, well, you move your picture moved, but it's still frozen. Now you're
Let's
frozen
see.
in a new way.
Hmm.
Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you totally clearly.
Are you
Everything's
hearing everything I'm saying?
yes. Can you hear me?
I, I didn't even catch that. I heard
Uh,
you say, "Can you hear me?" But before that,
huh.
I didn't.
It's weird.
Okay, that looks good. I see you smoking.
Yeah,
All right, I got live action back.
you seem totally fine to me. Everything has been
Okay,
crystal clear and fantastic.
I think we're golden here. I think we're back.
Okay.
We're back. We're back. Okay, let's move on to the two-step guys here, and get into it. Interesting week as far as two steps in that a lot of studs going, so not as long of a list of guys that we're even questioning because it's so many set it and forget it types. And obviously, we're not going to sit here and break down whether or not you're starting Spencer Strider.
You
Now,
are,
I did
by the way.
take. You should. You wrote the list for us because you were doing your two-step article. I did take Morton off. We don't have a question about Morton at Detroit and home to Colorado, right? You
No,
have to
it's
start him.
too. I mean,
Can't
it's
even.
like that's too good of a two step. I do have
That's what I thought.
concerns with Morton's underlying skills, and like
Sure.
I feel like he is gonna get blown up at some point. But like like I'd start you versus Detroit and
In
Colorado
Colorado.
in
Yeah.
yeah. So
No, so that's a really good one. Okay, cool. So let's get into it then. Let's start with James Paxton. He gets Colorado, the Rockies at home, but then he goes. Then the Yankees come to visit him. Where he's sitting on Paxton right now? He had like one blow up, but he's been pretty good otherwise.
yeah,
I'm pretty in on him. How you feeling about Paxton right now? 5 starts into the year.
I think he's a must start. Like
I tend to agree.
I honestly believe like you pretty much start him anytime out. Anyways, now he gets Colorado in Fenway. You know, Colorado can't hit on the road. The Yankees are not a scary lineup,
Mm.
especially without Judge. So I'm totally fine starting Paxton in this two step.
Yeah, and he's widely available. So while I agree that he's a 2 start or a must start, Paxton is super gettable in shallower formats.
Yeah,
So go out there and go get him. Like I said, he had the one dud at the Angels. You maybe should have sat that one out anyway. The Angels are scary as hell. Bounce back with 2 gems and looks to be set up for a pretty good week here, especially with Judge not in the LA lineup. Tony Gonsolin, I think, is a little bit more on the wire as far as like whether or not you're starting him. At least I want to see where you're at with him. White Sox and Giants both at home. I think a double home start makes him pretty close to automatic, but let's focus on shallow leagues specifically with him because I think deeper leagues, you don't really have a choice. He has had a little bit of pullback in his numbers recently after running super hot again. His BABIP, everyone's saying, oh, that BABIP's going to go up with the shift changes and everything. It's down 30 points to 177, which
yeah.
is crazy. It's not going to hold, but he's doing his high wire act again. Are you starting Tony Gonsolin in shallow formats right now?
I mean, this is a good enough matchup or set of matchups where like I'm not really afraid of either team.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the regression's coming. We already saw it start in Cincinnati versus Ellie De La Cruz.
Yes.
And yeah, I know the pain is coming, but like I think you have to just roll with it until it comes. Like I think you're gonna soak it up either way, but like this isn't a scary enough two step to go. I feel like unless you have a really bad gut feeling, I guess. I mean, you can, but I'm not the person who rolls with gut feelings. I just, I roll with the numbers, and right now the numbers have been good enough, fantastic. The numbers have been amazing, and I understand the underlying numbers are extremely scary. Maybe this is a time to try to sell him in a trade league. Like,
Yeah. You could sell
is
Gonsolin.
hey, you get him for a two step, and he's been amazing. Give me a top 30 hitter or something like that. And if you can, get that deal done, like, hey, maybe you get out before all the disaster stuff starts happening. But
That could work. I do like that avenue for sure. See what's up with Gonsolin if you can afford to trade a pitcher, and it might be worth saying, okay, hey, I'll move on from him right now and get something nice in return, like you're saying. But other than that, I do think you got to start him. What about this guy, dude? I think even you might be off the train, and I think once Justin leaves the train on this guy, nobody should have him. But I'll see. Lance Lynn at the Dodgers and at Seattle. He's still
yeah,
showing flashes at times, but just too many bad innings, too many homers. It's bleak right now. Are you standing by your guy, Lance Lynn?
I don't think I'm dropping him necessarily, but I definitely am not starting him. No way at the Dodgers. Like I just don't know how. And I mean, well, Seattle has not been good offensively necessarily. Like they are much better against righties and lefties.
And they're still a
Um,
capable squad.
and yeah, it's still led by Julio Rodriguez
Mm-hmm.
and uh, second coming of Achilles in Jared Kelnick. So um yeah, I'm not starting him for this two step, which makes me want to drop him. And I understand like some of you are gonna be playing in leagues where if you're not starting him for two step, you're not holding on to him. I get
And
that.
I co-sign that if you do have to cut Lance Lynn. I
Yeah,
understand cutting him.
I totally get it. I still feel like there are enough good skills, and Lance Lynn is a really good pitcher, and I feel like he's gonna turn it around at some point. And so I'm holding on. but I totally understand, like, if you're like, I just can't handle this anymore, because he's murdered people's pitching. I mean, even in his last start, like, it was like you were like, okay, there are times where he looks really good, and then
Every start, you can
he
find
has
those elements where that's the Lance Lynn that I
it's
know and
it's
drafted.
usually one inning. Like, it's usually
Yep.
really just one inning.
I call it OBI, one bad inning. He suffers from one bad inning syndrome, and that's a lot of the blowups with Lance Lynn. You go through them, and you see that one nightmare inning.
I mean, he reminds me of my freaking softball team, like that, and we're like, our team name is the Bad News Bears, like, because like there's always that one inning that just looks like, I mean, a straight up blooper video. Like,
Dude,
it's just
it's so funny you say that. That's where I got the OBI thing from. I was on a
yeah,
softball team called OBI, one bad inning, because we always had one bad
that's a
inning. And we
great
would
team name.
still win some games. You know, we were a competitive team, but when we were out, you know, when we were losing our games, it was always like the 7-run inning out of nowhere, you know, a couple misplays or something. So, yeah, I've
That's
translated that into pitching as seeing guys in a lot of OBI syndromes out there, and Lance Lynn might be chief among them this year. So
yeah, I mean,
I co-sign cuts everywhere. Anywhere you want to, I get it. I also understand what you're saying about holding if you can afford it. So I am fence sitting a little bit because I can see both sides. But for the most part, I am okay moving on from Lance Lynn here. Tommy Henry, I think, was he set up for a two-step last week and now he's not getting it? Oh, I know why. Because of the air quality situation.
yeah,
He's
he got
getting
pushed.
moved. So now he's setting up for another two-step. Well, you didn't like last week's when it was Detroit and Washington. I doubt you're going to like Philly and Cleveland at home. I know Cleveland's not a bad spot, but if I couldn't get you on Detroit, Washington for Henry, I don't know how you're going to start him at Phillies or at home to Phillies. So Philly,
Yeah,
Cleveland, you starting Tommy Henry?
no,
Okay, I didn't think so. Let's just move on then. Dean
you
Kramer.
you missed Dane Dunning.
Oh, pardon me. Well, because he's an auto start. Actually, not with this matchup. Okay, I love Dane Dunning. And you just said earlier, you know, I don't do gut moves. Sometimes I do. I will freely admit, like, I look at the stats, I understand they don't follow what I'm wanting to do, and I end up doing the move I want to do. That's me starting Dane Dunning right now.
Hmm.
I've been starting him pretty much everywhere, and those numbers are not good. He has a 9% strikeout minus walk. That is legitimately bad. And an 8% swing strike. He couldn't strike you out. He's got 252 ERA, 110 whip, but a 462 SIERA. And for whatever reason, I like this guy, man. Sometimes you got guys that you like, that you believe in, even if their numbers don't fully support it. That said, Angels Toronto, not even I can do that. Now I don't even think Mrs. Dunning, his mother, could start this because that is devastating. Angels Blue Jays, I can't do it. This is where a case I'll make the exception of the I will hold but not start in a two-step because I do like Dane Dunning, 15 teamers, but I can't start it. What say you about this Dunning two-step?
I'm appalled that you would insinuate that anybody can strike me out, much less Dane Dunning. Um,
My
so,
fault. Corbin Burns
yeah,
can't get you, dude.
I'm a high contact kind of guy. Uh,
Welsh's cutter might get you. Welsh's 80 grade
no,
cutter.
no, I spit on his cutter.
Oh, that sounds like a war at Arizona waiting to happen.
Let's go. He'd make me look silly, I'm sure. Yeah, no, there's no way I'm starting Dane Dunning. Like, the upside versus downside.
Oh,
Like,
it's not even
I'm
funny.
it's just like these two offenses are just rock solid, and yeah, I'm not messing with either. It's
They
just,
could single handedly put his ERA back to his Sierra. They
yeah,
could
they
add two
absolutely
runs to
could.
his
Yeah,
ERA, and then he's right back, you know, where he quote unquote belongs. Because his ERAs in 21 and 22 are 451 and 446. And because I play deeper leagues, like there is value there. That's why I'm like, even if Dane Dunning goes back to who he's supposed to be, I can still hang on to him in a 15 teamer. That said, I don't want the punishment that it takes to get his numbers back to a 4 something ERA because that could be a 12 ERA this week in those two matchups. Let me see. We got Dean Kramer next. Does he actually have the same matchups as Henry, or did you just write Philly Cleveland twice on accident?
I think I accidentally just
I
wrote
think you did.
Cleveland.
So he
Yeah,
gets Toronto and at the Cubs for Dean Kramer. He is right-handed American League Tommy Henry. No, that's a strained comp
That
there.
was
I'm
that
just
was
saying,
also mean, yeah.
yeah. A, it was mean. B, it's strained. But I'm just saying he's like kind of a back end guy. He doesn't have great skills. He has good outings at times, but I don't know. I don't think I can get there with Dean Kramer. What do you think about him?
I was feeling a lot better about Dean Kramer as of late until that Milwaukee start,
Yeah, they
where
brought him back to earth.
they kind of brought him back to earth, like you said. If the Chicago start was at home, I'd be a little bit more intrigued because Chicago's offense has been terrible without Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
But it's on the road. Plus, you get Toronto at home. I think I'm skipping this one.
I think I am too. In pickup leagues of a particular depth, I might take a chance on the Cubs start on the weekend if I'm Hail Marrying it, like if it's a head to head and I'm just like, I need something. Because he's not a terrible pitcher, Dean Kramer, but I wouldn't be seeking this out in any way, shape, or form for either start. Let's go to Aaron Savali. He gets the White Sox and the Giants both at home. Savali's back. Savali's kind of like in that Dane Dunning mold where his skills aren't always great, but he's somebody I believe in generally, and I always believe in the Cleveland pitchers in general. Yeah, 7% swinging strike rate, 10% strikeout minus walk, but a 2.31 ERA, 107 WHIP. So he's exactly Dane Dunning right now, where his ERA is way better than his Sierra. But do you like him here? White Sox, Giants, Aaron Savali.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Again, like two starts that you're not really running from necessarily,
At
especially
home,
with the
especially.
yeah White. Eloy just went down with an injury last night.
Why?
Something something we could have just recorded a drop for and just
I
placed into the episode, but
God, why didn't you warn me about his health? No, I'm kidding. I took that fucker everywhere, dude. I love him, and the process was if he stays healthy, I got a God. The thing of it is, the counter, of course, that you had was he never stays healthy, you idiot. And I said, well, maybe this is the year that I'm lucky. And guess
I
what?
mean, at
It's
least
not
this time he didn't do it in the field. Like this
true.
was, and I could not for the life of me find any update on his they did not say anything about it last night when I was writing
Yeah,
the roto write up. So
just day to day right now. We'll see if he's in the lineup today with regards to Eloy Jimenez. But we're in on the Savali starts then, right?
yeah, I think so.
I think I could even get on board in like a 12 if you're really searching. But 15's for sure. Man, we made jokes in the preseason about this guy, Tyler Anderson, going to the Angels, and we always say like, oh, if things get really bad, he can just drive on over to Mark Pryor and get some tips and
Mm-hmm.
get back on track. He might need to make the drive, Justin. What the hell, dude? He didn't just regress to pre-Dodgers, Tyler Anderson. This is a new level of shit. 5.62 ERA, 160 WHIP, walking everybody. Where's that coming from? Couldn't strike you out again. Who can? What the hell's going on with Tyler Anderson? And are you starting him at Texas and at KC? Obviously, the answer is no with the at
I
Texas. But what the hell is his deal?
I was a proponent of his because he was going really really cheaply. I felt like
Hmm.
he's not going to forget how to pitch. He forgot how to pitch.
He forgot, and we literally said like, okay, he's not gonna forget everything he learned. He might not be as good, and he did. And again, he reverted back to some level that we've never seen. He's terrible right now, Tyler Anderson is, and I don't get it. Are you holding him anywhere? Is he an AL only hold?
I mean, I think he's an AL only hold just because there's so few pitchers in that format that are still alive that you probably have to hold
Is
him
he
there.
alive? Is Tyler Anderson currently alive, pitching
Man,
wise?
he's so bad right now. Yeah, I mean, there's no way you're starting him. And to be quite honest, like I don't see much in the profile that
Mm-mm.
tells me he's going to turn it around either, though. So, like, I
If you want
totally
to
understand.
go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, I totally understand dropping. He's a 160 whip.
Dude,
Like,
what is this? And the worst part, like I said, that 11-10% walk rate, where's that coming from? The one thing I would have expected was keep the walks in check. If the strikeouts
mhm.
evaporated again, okay, well, I'll get a decent whip. If you want to hang your hat on anything, if I can give you a little something on him, it's that over his last 7 starts, it's a 4.78 ERA and a 4.21 FIP, but it's still the same 11% walk rate. So yeah, I'm out on this two-step for sure because it has an at Texas, and I'm fine cutting him just about everywhere, maybe even AL only, depending on what your wire is offering up.
I mean, every single one of his pitch values is worse this year. But I mean, the biggest like drastic change is his changeup that went from a
God tier.
15.3 pitch value to a negative 3.8. He is just not getting the movement on his pitches,
Yeah.
and not being able to command them. And so, and people are just like, I'm gonna wait till you come to the zone because like I don't trust that you have any location there, and people are just
Yeah.
raking on him.
Yeah, you're gonna float some crap in, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
hammer it, type of
Mm-hmm.
deal. Exactly. What about Zach Greinke? I look at him, and I always have a tough time starting him because I don't think the upside's worth it. Like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing the SP chart, I'm like, this could be a good start, y'all, but he could drop 8 on you, and that's the problem, or even just 5, and that's exactly what we're seeing, right? He had a great May. Ran through 6 starts, didn't give up more than 3 in any of them. Well, 3 earned. He did have 4 against the White Sox, but only 3 were earned. And then trip to Miami, going to keep it going to start June. 5 burger right on your face in 4 1/3. And that's the part that scares me is that when he's off, he's really off. So Zach Greinke gets Cincinnati and the Angels at home. And now with Ellie and the way the Reds are going, this is a complete stay away for me. Do you have any interest in Zach Greinke?
No, the only interest I have in Jack Greinke is he is 68 strikeouts away from 3,000, and
He
like,
is carrying a really strong rate this year, looking like he's going to get the
yeah.
3,000.
So I'm rooting for him to get to 3,000 so he can, I mean, I don't think he cares.
No,
Um,
no, it's more for everyone else. Like his
but yeah,
records, he's like, oh, cool. I didn't
he
know.
says there's one record he cares about.
What is it?
He wants to be, I think, the first 10-10 pitcher.
10 homers, 10 steals.
Uh huh.
Oh my God, I was just joking.
Yeah, no,
But of course,
that's all he cares about. So,
that's so funny. Oh,
uh,
because he has 9 of each.
yeah, he has 9 of each. So,
Oh man, he was probably crushed when the Universal DH came in.
well, he said he was really upset when he got traded to the American League.
I do remember that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was not
So,
a fan of getting pushed back to the American
but yeah,
League.
I think he's just hoping that the Royals will let him like DH one game or something like that.
That would be amazing. But then he got to go
Mhm.
bomb pop and get another hit or walk so he can try to steal.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
I think
funny.
he only signed with the Royals because he knew he wouldn't be good because he might have an opportunity to then
To
hit.
do some shit like
Yeah,
that. Yep.
because they might let him do it. Yeah.
Yep. Matthew Libertor. Hey man, where's your spring stuff? I thought you were gonna bring
Mm.
that over here. I was really excited for that. He looks like the exact same guy we saw last year in the majors so far. It's a small sample, and it wasn't just the spring, by the way. He carried it over in the minors. I was really excited about Libertor's call up. He's been a disappointment through a couple starts right now. He gets the Giants and the Mets both at home. Is that enough to get you on the Libertor train? Um, Despite the fact that he's disappointed in 15 innings thus far in the majors.
Yeah, I think the Giants have been so bad against lefties this year that I think I'm rolling with this one and hoping that he shows kind of that stuff that he showed in that first startup, and prior to that. But he has been pretty rough over his last 2 outings, so I understand wanting to skip it. But like I said, the Giants have been really bad against left-handed pitching, and so I think I'm willing to take the gamble on him.
Yeah, I can get behind it. I think it's a deeper league only. It's pretty low on my list for 12s. If you're going to go that route with Libertor, it is still just 15 innings here in the majors. It looks like he's, maybe trying to find his footing, but so good in the minors, so impressive in spring with the stuff. And the only thing that he's really brought with him is a little bit of a velo boost, up 1.2 from last year. So I hope he gets it going. I do like Libertor, but he has disappointed me thus far. Jameson Taillon has really fallen off. Now, maybe the wrong day to say that because he is coming off a pretty decent start. Oh wait, no. He ended up getting hit around more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 4 runs, 4 walks, 5 hits, 2 homers against the Angels. I thought he got out before more trouble hit. He just it just hasn't really been there with Tyone this year. 7.02 ERA, 154 WHIP. Is there any world where you're starting him against Pitt and Baltimore both at home?
I don't think so, just because he's been so bad. I feel like he's a much better pitcher than this, and you got to wonder
So
when
you
he
have hope for him in the
struggles.
summer?
I mean, I want to. He's been such a good pitcher on a per inning, kind of basis. Uh, it's always been injury, and so it's weird
Yeah.
to see him struggle while he's healthy. So it makes you wonder: is there an
Is
injury
he
that we don't
hurt?
know
Yeah.
about? Because like he's a guy who's never been healthy his entire career, and so you got to wonder: like, is there something going on that we just don't know about? Uh, he's one of those guys that I've stashed in a couple leagues, and I'm not starting, but I totally understand just kind of skipping this altogether, even though Pittsburgh has been like really, really bad at times this year. So,
Yeah, their offense obviously isn't scary. Baltimore obviously is a good team, but if Tyon looked a bit better than a
mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Baltimore is something I would normally do. I am sitting this out. I don't hate the idea of a stash if you're desperate looking for some pitching that could pop in the summer because his skills are not that far off of what he did last year when he was really strong with the Yankees for deeper formats. So I could see a summer surge, but it's hard to get too excited about Jameson Taillon right now. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be starting him. Did you see the Ronzi Contreras Oakland start? Did you
I'm
watch?
sorry, you mean his Alec Manoah impression? I
Y-
did see this. Yes,
yes.
it was
So
pretty gross.
it was horrendous, right? 7 earned, 6 hits, 2 walks in a third of an inning. If you dig in a bit deeper, you can see that like he did get kind of unlucky too, right? There were
Mm-hmm.
some low value hits there that didn't have good exit velos, that wouldn't have been hits more often than not type of deal. It wasn't just an automatic shellacking because I box score scouted. I was like, oh my god, he just got ripped. And then somebody in my comments on the SP chart broke down how it all went and said, I'm not sitting here
Mm-hmm.
saying like this was good, but it wasn't as bad as it looks on paper, and that made sense to me. That is 2 bad ones in a row now, though. 12 earned in 4 1/3 for Contreras. Does that make you too scared to start him at the Cubs and at Milwaukee?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Are you
I'm
holding
not.
him anywhere?
No,
Ronzi
no.
Contreras. Okay.
Uh, yeah. Do you know what his BABIP was in that last start?
1,000?
It was 1,000.
Seems like it would regress a little bit.
I mean, I feel like it has to regress some, right?
I hope, for his sake, I hope, because
Yeah.
that seems tough to go by with a 1,000. Yeah, I liked Ronzi coming into the year. He and Keller, and honestly, Oviedo and Ortiz had their own little bits
hmm
of preseason hype too. So like there were some guys that you could get behind on Pittsburgh. Obviously, Keller is having the breakout, but Ronzi, not just this start, it hasn't really been there, and it's the walks, of course, that are getting him a lot, but also the fact that he's just not missing as many bats. 17%
Yeah.
strikeout rate is really weak. So I don't see a lot of hope here. I tend to agree that I'm not even holding in spots where I'm not using Contreras.
Because like yeah, like his walks per nine is like it's just under 4, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not great, but it's not like atrocious. Like you're not seeing him like walk the entire yard. You also see him not like give up home run like a huge amount of home run.
No,
He's getting up some, but
1-1.
not. Yeah, I mean that's totally fine. The thing with Ronzi Contreras, and you really see it when you watch his starts, is he is just so damn hittable in the zone.
Yep.
Like when he is in, like it reminds me so much of what like was happening with Lucas Giolito last year.
Ooh,
Because
that's a good way to put it.
it's maddening, just like especially when there's runners on base, like it's almost like he checks out, or like I don't know if he's just like he's mentally like beating himself up for letting a runner on base,
Yeah.
and he's
Loses
just like
focus or something.
I'm gonna throw this in the zone so that way I can get the double play, or I can get out of this inning quickly, and it
Hmm.
just snowballs on itself, and you almost wonder like if he just needs like a pitching coach to like, because he's got good stuff generally
Oh,
speaking,
yeah. No, I agree with that.
and so like you almost wonder if like someone needs to sit him down and like, hey, listen, like trust your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like don't just like give up when you put a runner or two on base. Just keep, because your stuff is too good to keep just like lofting shit in the zone and letting people hit it. Um,
That's what completely changed Tristan McKenzie's career was
yeah.
just throwing it in the zone, and he got tips
Mhm.
from competitors, Salvi Perez, Miguel Cabrera, two legends. Obviously Miggy not at the peak of his powers. Salvi's still a damn good hitter. They both told him, say, "Hey, kid, your stuff's crazy, man, but why are you messing around so much with not attacking us? That's why we were able to beat you." Like they basically told him how he was beaten. Trust your stuff, and then he took off last year. Contreras has good stuff, and sometimes these guys nibble too much, and it's like just consistently throw it in the zone. Stop getting backed into a corner where you have to come in the zone weak with a pitch.
Mhm.
Instead, attack early. And this is all easier said than done. I get that. But I do think with Contreras, his stuff is too nasty to be this mediocre or bad,
Yeah.
even. He's not even mediocre. He's bad.
Yeah.
How much would I have to pay you to purposely start Chase Anderson on your team? Now, in fairness,
He's been
neither
fine. Yeah. Like,
A, he's been fine. B, neither are in Coors. However, it is trips to Boston and Atlanta. So I ask, how much would I have to pay you to start him on your main event team?
there's no way. Like, I mean, and
Even
this
if I
coming
gave you
from the guy
50
who
bucks?
started Julio Tehran this week. Like, I mean, like, I have pretty low standards generally speaking, but especially for streaming two-star pitchers. But no, I'm not. I'm not
No,
fucking. I'm not.
absolutely not. The 208 ERA is paired with a 513 FIP.
I mean, you
He,
can pretty much just like skip over the rest of this list. I'm not starting any of these guys. Like, I just,
I got one I am starting and then one I would want to talk about. So, yeah, we can go pretty quickly through the rest of them here. Reese Olson's the guy I'm probably starting, though. He came in a
versus Atlanta.
yeah, I think so. I like
Mm-hmm.
what Reese Olson's. I mean, it is Atlanta and Minnesota, which is not easy. I
Mm-hmm.
certainly grant that. He came in as a follower yesterday behind Tyler Holton through 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts. The 3 strikeouts coming in a bit light, but that was in Philly. That's a tough matchup. I like Olson. You weren't so hot on him when we discussed him as a pickup, so I didn't expect you to necessarily like him. I don't think he's quite with all of the elite prospects of coming up this year, but I don't think he's like the worst one either. I think he's like the second tier prospects with the second group of prospects that have come up this year. He's pretty good, and if he keeps the walks in check, and so far through a couple starts he has. I mean, yesterday wasn't a start, but it was, if you know what I mean. If he
Mm-hmm.
keeps the walks in check, I like him. Atlanta is good, and even Minnesota is, but I like Reese Olson here. I would start him in 15s. I would consider him in 12s.
You know what? I'm gonna backtrack and say I completely understand it.
Okay, sweet.
He's given up a hell of a lot of contact. Like
That is a concern.
he's given up almost
BABIP is tiny.
92% zone contact, but he's getting a lot of ground balls. He's getting a lot of infield fly balls, which apparently is a skill of his,
Yes, and those are
because like he
freebies.
has massive infield fly ball rates all throughout the minor leagues.
I want to
Um,
say it's his changeup for Reese Olson that generates those because that is his key pitch. So it would make sense that it is. But
mhm.
yeah, he gets guys out in front, I guess, and pop up city, and those are basically strikeouts. I mean,
Yeah.
they're free outs when you get pop ups on the infield. So there is some risk here for sure. Don't get me wrong. But if you're looking for some upside, I do think Reese Olson has it. And so I would start him here, Atlanta and at Minnesota. Now we can skip Zach Davies, Jake Irvin, Connor Siebold, James Caprillion. You're not going to have any interest in, right? Unless you want to change my mind
No.
on any of those.
No, no. And yeah, none of these guys are good at baseball.
And I'm not going. I'm not going to tell you that I would start this last guy here because, like his teammate James Caprillion, Hogan Harris gets versus Tampa Bay versus Philly, which is very difficult, although both are at home. I do just want to point out that Hogan Harris, go look at his game log, okay? Because you would look at the 6.46 ERA and you say, oh, well, another shitty Oakland pitcher. However, he got absolutely dumpstered by the Mets in mid-April for 6 earned on 5 walks and a hit in the third of an inning. And since then, he has 3 pretty solid 5 inning starts, good for a 3 ERA with 12 strikeouts in 15 innings and a sub 1 whip. So, I mean, that's a little something there for Hogan Harris. Again, with Tampa Bay on the slate, I don't think you can start him. I might pick up and stash him though in a deeper format, even if I'm not using him for the 2-step. And I will say, depending on where my desperation level is, there are worlds where I would use the 2-step because both are at home. So I just want to put some love out there for Hogan Harris. I know some of y'all play even beyond 15 team leagues where you are turning over Oakland Rocks, Colorado Rocks. I think Hogan Harris has a little heat. Am I selling you at all on Hogan Harris?
Not really, but here's the thing, like, and I'm trying to look up which day he starts against Tampa.
I can tell you that it is Tuesday.
Okay, so if you are planning on getting drunk on Tuesday, then you might be able to get away with it because Philadelphia has not been good against left-handed pitching this year.
There you go. And both are at home.
Yeah, and both are at home. The problem is Tampa Bay has been like the best team in baseball against left-handed pitching this year. And so I don't know, especially you're not going to get a win because Oakland doesn't win.
Is negative $1 million. Now he did beat Pittsburgh, so good on him. They showed out in Pittsburgh.
Did they sweep Pittsburgh? Like I can't remember if did Pittsburgh take a game.
I think Pittsburgh got the last one, but it wasn't good. Dropping a series to Oakland when you're a team that's trying to compete.
We were just talking about them on Monday or on Tuesday as being like a hot team. Like, oh look, Pittsburgh's getting hot again. They're back,
and they had been,
and they got Oakland in town, and fucking I don't know what happened.
Like you can't blow that series. Yeah, they were. Oh no, they took the first one. Oh, and here's the thing too. They had Keller Contreras. They had to feel like we got game one. We're gonna get this series, and then they lost the last two. So they didn't get swept, but they did lose the last two. But yeah, so I'm with you. Like I get you on Harris. Win potential in the toilet. Tampa Bay, terrifying. But both are at home, and I just wanted to highlight that he's been pretty decent since that first outing. It's going to take some time to work that outing off of his bottom line numbers.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you were like a drinker like me, and you're all like, people are like, "Why are you drinking, Justin?" Well, it's Tuesday morning. Why wouldn't I be drinking? Then I can totally understand it, but ultimately, no, I'm not messing with Tampa. Like, I just think
I'm with that.
I think,
but I would consider a pickup and a hold maybe. And again, you're talking 16, 20 team. I know some of y'all freaks are playing 20, 22 team leagues. I respect it. I used to do that shit too.
Some of you playing 30 team leagues.
Yeah, and that might be where you would want to pick up a Hogan Harris. It is a
niche recommendation. This is another name that sounds made up. Like
100%. 100%. Hogan Harris is definitely a state representative.
In
Iowa.
Absolutely. Like
there's just no doubt.
I'd vote for Hogan Harris.
Hogan Harris, I'm voting for. I'm not starting him, but I'm voting for Hogan Harris.
Oh,
he comes from a good family.
I hope to God he's not like a trash bag of a person that's got like awful tweets, and we're all like,
it's just like the biggest piece of shit. Like,
people are gonna find his tweets.
The boss loves him, dude.
Oh, Justin and Paul thinks this guy is amazing, and look what he said.
His white nationalism. What the hell is wrong with that?
Jesus.
We do not support that if he comes out with
if Hogan Harris is an awful person, I'm retracting.
We retract every positive thing we said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well those are the 2 steps. Again, a little bit of a lighter pool to pick from this week because there are so many studs going out there. Hopefully you got some of those studs so that you can get some nice pitching this week. Speaking of pitching, your pitching is making a rise a little bit in your main event there. You're finally out of the cellar in ERA, huh?
Yeah, baby. I have worked my 5.3 ERA down to a 4.6 something ERA.
Let's go.
And even with Lance Lynn's bad start, I'm continuing to make progress. So
that's huge.
If I can even just work it down to a 4, I'm probably going to win that league or at least compete for it. I've got some really
stay competitive.
Good teams.
Don't claim a W yet.
I'm going to claim a W. I'm going to win.
It's 6-9. Do not say that you're.
It's such a tough league. Like it's really really tough. But shout out to our boy Mike Kurland. I don't know if he's still first overall in the main event, but he was this week. And
second right now.
Yeah, it's
2 points.
So shout out to him. Like he's been absolutely killing it. I wish I had done what he had done instead of doing what I did, which was he joined an online main event league the weekend of Vegas to try to exploit some of the weaker competition. And I think if I go to Vegas next year, I'll just draft my hotel room.
That's actually like really smart.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I'll do
right
the
there.
auctions there because I love the auctions, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean those Vegas mains are insanely difficult.
You don't get anything close to an easy room.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't
absolutely.
exist. We all talk about how hard our rooms are because every single person is in a tough room.
Yeah,
I'm looking at his team. Curlin got some nice players here. You know, he got Acuna. That's always a great foundation to have. Matt Chapman, Josh Young, said the entertainer. Obviously, he just lost him, but Jonathan India with 12 steals is pretty nice. And that's probably what he expected out of him for the full year. Because we didn't know what to expect out of the new steals rules, and it's turned out to be
mm-hmm.
wonderful. You got Gosman, Lazardo, Gray, Justin Steele. Yeah, Darvish. Yeah, it's a nice team. I mean, he's second in the main for a reason, of course. But
Yeah.
good luck to Mike. What do you got coming up this weekend? Anything going on?
I'm going camping, so
Oh, that's right.
there's not an episode this weekend. However, we will have an extra episode next week with a special guest that I'm sure everybody will be excited. I will keep it a secret.
Yep.
Um,
Keep it
and
under wraps.
so you will get 3 episodes during the week next week. So we'll have to come up with a different topic other than our standard
Yep.
Monday, Friday topics. But
We'll come up with something cool for the guests. But all right, well then enjoy your weekend. Have some fun in the woods. Stay safe, and we'll talk on Monday.
take it easy.